What's up, everybody? This is Jeff and Control Robinson. I'm going to do a quick video review of a movie I saw recently. It's been out for a couple weeks, a week. Also, I haven't done one of these in a while, but I wanted to kind of bounce this into a discussion kind of on kind of a common theme that's going on in movies right now. It's nothing epic here, but just some thoughts on a movie and then some thoughts on movies in general right now if you're interested. Keep watching. If not, piss off, I guess. I don't know. So first of all, the movie, of course, is Independence Day 2. It came out fairly recently. Going into it, obviously, I wasn't expecting some kind of life-altering, super amazing, incredible drama movie, just with just the most, Avatar level CGI, just all the stuff. No, I wasn't. I was expecting aliens, explosions, cheesy lines, and that's basically it. And I got that. So, for the most part, I got exactly what I wanted, and I was pretty happy with that. I thought, I'm a huge sci-fi buff, obviously, and I love aliens, and I like that kind of stuff. I respect movies that show less of them, because a lot of times the mystique of that is even cooler. But then I really, obviously, kind of for me, the holy grail of this kind of concept is a movie that pulls off aliens really well, and doesn't make them look like terrible CGI, fakery that's just like, okay, well, that's clearly not an alien, and now I don't care anymore. In that regard, this movie did a pretty good job as well. I thought every time they showed the ship, the fighter ships, the alien biosuits, and in the end, a little bit of a spoiler, but I mean, you shouldn't be watching a movie review for something if you do want some spoilers. The Harvester Queen at the end was absolutely incredible. I thought they did an amazing job executing that. The scale of it was pulled off really well. It looked as large as it was and moved as large as it was. It having its own personal shield, the way it used its weapon. I still love the aesthetic of their tendrils being useful and connected, so they're not completely just unaesthetic, but also being very different. They just kind of flail in the background. It wouldn't look cool or menacing, but it's so different from how everyone else does, like tendrils and stuff like that, that I really appreciated, and I thought it was really cool to the aesthetic. And the alien biosuit in general, actually, is, I thought, a really cool idea and concept, in that it looks like locusts, and they kind of act like locusts, so there's definitely that inspiration going on there. But at the same time, very alien, very different. The little green men that are inside it. This is from Independence Day 1, of course. But just that whole concept, very well done. So I really liked the lore. I liked the aliens. I did get those cheesy liners. They were as cheesy as I wanted. Oh, God, they were cheesy. And it was awesome for the most part. So the movie in general, I think if you liked Independence Day 1, go see it. You're not going to be disappointed too much. You'll have a good time as long as those are your expectations. Beyond that, though, I was disappointed. And this is where we're going to segue into a larger conversation, but I'll talk about why it disappointed me. This was the sequel. The concept was an exact mirror image, only bigger, which is so common in sequels. Same alien invasion, this time with a bigger ship. And the ship attaches itself to the Earth itself, and then tries to drill to the center of the Earth, taking its magma core, destabilizing gravity, essentially destroying the planet, but refueling their resources, and advancing their technology is what ends up happening. And by the way, this is going to be completely spoiler-filled from here on out, so what I just said is minor spoilers. What's coming up is going to fully spoiler the movie. That's all fine and good, but the whole the new additions to the story was that Earth is prepared with the previous invasion. They advanced their own technology. They know they're going to come back, so they're getting ready for it. That's cool. That's a cool concept. Most invasion movies, the humans are caught completely unaware, and they're the severe underdog, and by some miracle, wouldn't you know it, there's some glaring weakness in the alien invasion, like they're allergic to our viruses, or water destroys them, or in this case, if you kill the queen, for some reason the ship backs out. So that part was obviously kind of the beginning of the frustration for me. But for most part, what I found really sad. And this is not the first time, by the way. We do not get to put this blame at the foot of or at the feet of Independence Day 2. It's so common, and that's why I'm talking about this. But the sequel was such a rehash of the original that it just became silly, just really, really silly. The unlikely pilot that ends up being the one to save the day, exactly from the first one. That's the recovering alcoholic father that suicide bombs the fighter, the one of the ships. That ends up being like the big storyline just before it hits the bunker where the entire presidential cabinet is. This one actually had that like several times over. Like there's a few different pilots that all try to sacrifice themselves. None of them end up actually sacrificing themselves, but all of them are like, nah, it's me that's got to do it. I love you so much. And like the same exact thing, like suicide bombing a plane into something to destroy the entire invasion. It's just very strange that like that's like the only thing that you could rehash from the first one, and that's exactly what they returned to. Each character completely played themselves again. What's his name's father is the bumbling fool who has this weird side story where he's just like idiotically surviving the apocalypse and gets on a bus with children and then is finding himself in the final battle where they just kind of are running from the big alien. I think it's comic relief, but it's exactly the same character, and it's exactly the same content between him and his son, where it's just like, what are you doing here? And he's like, Dad, how are you here? And he's like, well, of course, it takes the apocalypse for us to find each other. And it's like, that's the exact same conversation from the first movie. And that was the entirety of his content, by the way. It wouldn't be so bad if that was just like one of the things that he did, but literally everything he did was exactly what he had done in the first movie. And these kind of concepts continue to repeat themselves throughout the movie. The mad scientist awakes from a coma. What's that? He's slightly touched by the aliens, and he's just kind of a weird bumbling fool that helps accidentally figure out the alien technology they need to unlock to begin to fight back against the aliens. That's exactly what he did in the first movie. Like the examples kind of go on, but the point I'm trying to make, the larger picture I'm trying to paint here, is so many movies today are so safe, are so incredibly monetized and geared towards just making that money. And it sucks because there are movies out there, by the way, that are pushing the envelope, obviously, and are experimenting with different concepts. I'm not one of those weird people that thinks that every movie needs to be original, new ideas. Obviously, there's different shapes and sizes of movies fulfilling different kinds of roles, and certainly Independence Day 2 did not need to be this, indie film blockbuster that's just really, wow, it's just really setting trends. No, it did need to, but it just annoyed me that the entire movie was a rehash of the first one. Like, if they come out with a third one, I'll go see it, but that'll be like the final shot. That'll be me being like, okay, well, let's give it another shot. But if it's in a completely same rehash of everything that happened before, I'm going to be very disappointed. And it's just kind of a general critique, I guess, is what I'm putting out there, of just how lately so many movies are remakes of the original, and that's where you'll get some originality, where they kind of do reimagine them or fix or modernize things. But even that in and of itself is a part of this concept, where instead of making a new movie, they're revisiting old ones and feeding off the nostalgia. And that's okay, it's cool. Again, I'm not saying these things should never happen. I'm just saying it's happening so much that it's kind of bogging down my overall enjoyment of a lot of these movies. And then there have been so many just sequels that are completely, or not necessarily a sequel, but a follow-up that's just completely a rehash. This is in a loose way kind of an indirect criticism to the most recent Star Wars as well, Star Wars Episode 7, which I loved. I love the characters, I love the filming style. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I'm excited for the future of Star Wars, but when I saw it was just another Death Star being built, and I saw that literally the plan was 30 seconds of them being like, I guess we just shoot the 1 weak spot, and it blows up. When that happened in movie, there's a huge there's like a wash over me of like, oh my god, what a missed opportunity. And there's a lot of my friends too that are very smart people that are like, no, it's like that's one of the ways they're like attaching it to the Star Wars lore, like it's moving in a new direction, but this is their way of being like, look, it's Star Wars. And it's like, yeah, I get that, I guess, But man, if I was making a new Star Wars movie, I think the only thing that I would have to avoid is literally another Death Star and literally it being destroyed by an unassuming small group of people that find its one weak spot. Like, there's an infinite world of possibilities of storylines we could build. There's so much peril you could put people in. There's so much variety you could add to this lore to revisit this concept a third time, and then to do it the cheapest, by the way, of all three. Like the other two Death Stars were at least like the entire movie was built around dealing with that. This one, it was almost haphazardly thrown in there as like a look, we're Star Wars now, and it's just like, man. I guess to finish off this semi rant, I would tell you that a lot of this is our own doing. It's because people will go see that. It's familiarity. It's safe. It's easily understood. It doesn't complicate things. It doesn't change things. To complicate is dangerous. If I take a established storyline or universe and I alter it or make bold statements within that universe, it can upset people. It can alienate people. It can make them feel different. And I'm a little bit worried that a lot of the direction of our movies and shows is heading in a direction where everything gets like homogenized and mediocrized into this very safe zone of where a weird movie is taking a semi-popular concept and doing something semi-strange with it. What if they just keep remaking everything? What if they just keep our superheroes alive forever and they make them pure and safe, and their constant struggle is dealing with how much power they have? Like every fucking superhero movie these days is the exact story applied in a slightly different canvas is just them being like, man, you're so powerful, how do you even come to grips with that? And he's like, I don't know, maybe I don't, for half the movie. And at the end he's like, you know what, I do. And he saves the day, and that, or she, and that's the entire movie every single time, just a different way. I'm 30 years old, but I feel like a 70-year-old movie critic who's getting really bitter and sad with the state of a lot of those movies. Now, like I said, not all movies are like that. I am generalizing quite a bit. I'm more forecasting. I have a concern for a forecast that could become worse, is I guess what I'm trying to say. If the big blockbuster movies keep heading in the direction of just like ultra safeness and taking no risks, rehashing old concepts, keeping the characters exactly the same, and just redoing it over and over again, man, will that shove me out of any interest in these kind of movies at all. It certainly will. So I'd be interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. Obviously, this is a quick little rant about a concept that has a lot of elements to it, a lot of different angles, and a lot of different perspectives, of which I could never cover in anything less than like a 3-hour lecture, essentially, which you're not going to get. My videos are already long enough. But like I said, I do want to say I enjoyed Independence Day 2 because I knew what I was getting from it. I'm sad that they didn't make me more happy, which is kind of an extremely privileged thing to say, but it is what it is. And that's that. So, guys, like I said, post in those comments. I'll be looking in there, reading them, and talking with you if you've got something to say. I'll try to upload some more videos in the near future. I've got plans of making my Warlord Titan video. He had some updates and just doing better quality, like not having my thumb in half the shot the entire time. Hey! As well as other stuff. So, thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.